Hey, Pat Rigsby here, and in this episode, I want to talk with you about how being different is a winning strategy. Welcome to the Fitness Business School podcast, the show for fitness business owners who want to grow their income, increase their impact, and improve their lifestyle. Be sure to listen till the end of this episode because we have a brand new special offer exclusive for listeners, so stay tuned. So back in my baseball coaching days, I determined that for me to build a successful baseball program at the university that I was coaching at, Shawnee State University in Portsmouth, Ohio, my hometown actually, I was going to have to do things differently than the other coaches I was competing against. And you may have heard me tell stories relating to this before, but I got the head coaching job when I was 23, so I was the youngest coach in the country. So clearly, the people that I was competing against all had more experience than me. All of them did, right? They almost without exception all had better resources. We played at a city-owned field that, it had some great history, wasn't really maintained very well. We had outdated, the uniforms weren't very good, the equipment wasn't very good. We practiced in a gymnasium. The budget was really, really low, and prior to me taking over, there had been a very small athletic scholarship budget, which was now eliminated because the program they wanted to go to a non-scholarship division, but there was going to be this 5-year transition time where we were going to compete in a scholarship division without scholarships. So not awesome. And I recognized very quickly, I'm like, man, I've got to be different. I've got to in the minute I understood that, hey, I've got to take a different approach. I can't do things the way that everybody else does them, that has more experience, that have better resources, that are maybe in a more populated market, so there are more players to draw from locally. Well, once I shifted everything and said, okay, we're going to do things differently, recruiting, we're going to do things different from a player development standpoint, from a game strategy standpoint, things got better quickly. My first couple seasons we did okay, but as I kind of figured this out, by the third season we were nationally competitive. We were, a nationally ranked program that really thrived in certain areas. By my fifth season, we finished 5th in the country, and when we went to the World Series, there were I think there were 10 teams at the World Series, and they had just reinstituted scholarships, and we had a whopping 1.7 athletic scholarships for a team of 35 kids. The limit in that division was 12. All other 9 teams at the World Series had 12. And, and we were able to do that because we just approached things differently than everybody else. There was no chance that I was going to be able to be better than all these other smart, better resourced coaches by doing what they did. And when I shifted to the fitness industry, the same type of thing held true. When I got in to the commercial side of the fitness industry, most people were selling one-on-one hour-long sessions in either packages of 6 or 12 or 24, or they were doing this thing that a guy named Phil Kaplan had coined as a series, where you're just always prepaying your next one. And I didn't understand why people needed to take that approach, because if health clubs didn't ask people to prepay for the year entirely, if they said, hey, we're going to ask you to join on a subscription and you pay monthly, and if your car payment's monthly and your mortgage or your rent is monthly, then why wouldn't we do the same thing with training? And and then in the market that I was in, a small town in central Kentucky that I felt like I understood pretty well because I had come from a small town. Man, we did 30-minute sessions, and I could have them warm up before the session. I could have them do some of the conditioning after the session to make the price per session less expensive, but our hourly rate actually where we needed it to be, and sell it on an annual subscription where people would commit for 12 months. And heck, within 18 months, we had over 420 clients doing that. And, it's kind of the same thing with group training. The idea that all the, training needed to be this one-on-one experience for the affluent. I certainly wasn't first to popularize that, but I was, I think, I, with a couple of collaborators, launched the first coaching program for boot camps. Now there was like a licensed program, Adventure Boot Camp, that was already out there, but the first kind of coaching program for boot camp owners that was just like, if you were going to run an independent boot camp, recognize that opportunity, because everybody's selling one-on-one. I think at the time the average one-on-one rate was about $53 a session nationally, and people could join a boot camp for, at the time, under $20 a session. Now, heck, sometimes it feels like $10, $11, $12 a session because the market's pretty saturated. But if I look back, almost all the interesting things I've been able to do professionally, it's been really hinging on being different. The baseball program, launching that personal training business, launching a franchise where we allowed people to keep their keep their own brand. That worked tremendously well. We got plenty of franchisees who wouldn't have come on board otherwise because they didn't want to give up their brand, their kind of individual identity, and instead just selling it as, hey, we'll be the operating system behind you. Emailing 7 days a week for 17 years. There's nobody else who's crazy enough to do that. And then focusing on helping people create their ideal business rather than asking them to just follow my system and clone what I do. The list could go on, but you get the picture. Like, if you want to be successful, different is a pretty effective path. You don't have to just clone what everybody else does and be cheaper, right? If we look at, like them or not, Planet Fitness looked at a health club market that was very heavy into annual or even 24-month contracts, charging higher prices for essentially renting people access to stuff. And they said, hey, we're going to tell people they don't have to make an annual commitment. We're going to go cheaper, and they've blown up like crazy. Doug Sperling has built a wonderful business being a small group provider. So, he didn't have to stick with the large group and be like all the other boot camps out there. He could charge a little bit more, but he could deliver a really high touch service. And he's built a 7-figure business in a town of like 12,000 people. Cressy Sports Performance, with Eric and Pete, who would have ever guessed that somebody could build a business that really centered around baseball in Massachusetts, in a cold weather climate, that became a destination. And who would have ever considered that? Now, obviously, it's expanded where they've got the Florida location now and are arguably the biggest name in baseball performance development. But you don't have to do what everybody else does. You can say, hey, I'm going to play to my strengths. I'm going to look at what happens in other industries and see if I can translate that to our industry. I'm going to take some ideas that maybe are effective and add different tweaks and twists to them to set myself apart. But if you have tried to build a business that you feel like, hey, I want to have something better, but you do everything in the way that everybody else is doing them, you're kind of pulling the rope in different directions simultaneously. If you want to be better, you can't do things the same, right? Like, we've all heard the old adage that, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, this is it. Like, this is the opportunity for you to be different. So I would tell you there are plenty of episodes where I've covered all sorts of tactical ways that you can put this in action. Go back through some of them. If you'd like to set up a time to talk, we can walk through how your version of different may look so you can build the business that you want. Or, there are plenty of other people out there doing great work, sharing insight on how you can build a wonderful business. Take advantage of that. Look at some of the other things out there and say, okay, how can I build something that's reflective of me that'll help me have the income, the impact, and the lifestyle that I want and deserve. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fitness Business School. Before you go, I have a quick announcement. When I first connect with a fitness business owner, they almost always ask me how they can grow, how they can accelerate their progress. Well, I have an exclusive offer for you, and it's going to help you do just that, to accelerate you building the business that you want to own, getting more clients, generating more revenue, increasing your income, improving your lifestyle. And as a listener of this show, you can test drive our ideal business accelerator coaching program for free. IBA is a one-of-a-kind program where you're going to get everything from done-for-you marketing tools and a level of coaching that's unmatched in our industry to getting actual direction on how to build the business that you want, a blueprint from where you are to where you want to be. So you're going to be able to attract those clients that you want to work with. You're going to be able to increase your income. You're going to be able to improve your lifestyle. And all of that is going to be more readily accessible to you than you ever thought possible, because we're going to give you every tool, template, ads, script, everything that you need, plus over 10 weekly live video coaching sessions to help you with everything from dialing in your ads to mastering your mindset. All of this is stuff that you get when you join the Ideal Business Accelerator. And to help you succeed, I'm going to do something that really is kind of unmatched in our industry. I'm going to let you test drive IBA at zero cost. If it delivers for you in the way that I know that it will, it's going to more than pay for itself, and you're probably going to want to stay. But if not, no sweat. You're out in nothing, and you have a library of proven tools and resources to keep and to help you going forward. To take advantage of this special offer, just email me at pat@patrigsby.com and put test drive in the subject line, and I'll get you all the details.